Welcome, everybody, to the Manitoba Stronger Together Tuesday night Zoom call. So last week we had on representatives from the Sio Silica company to give a presentation. And if you guys recall, and I'm just going to show you another screen here. Here we go. If you guys recall, I promised to put together an email of all of your questions and send it to them for their answers. And believe it or not, I'm just going to blow this up a little bit bigger. But this was the email I sent them, which I just sent an hour or so ago. But look at all the questions you guys got. And by the way, I left your first names on, but I removed all the other information. So these are the questions, and I grouped them into groups. So people had questions about the project ownership, funding and corporate structure, revenue distribution, location, geological considerations, environmental impact, water testing, community impact, economic viability, regulatory processes, indigenous consultation, transparency, strategic value, and just some general comments. So there's a lot of questions there. I mean, you guys, there's 12 different categories, and each category has about 3 in it. So there was almost 40 questions there that went out to them today. So we'll see what kind of an answer we got, but I thought that was great that we some of these questions came in by email, some of them were in the comments section, which Rosalie dutifully recorded for me last week. So I just thought I would show that to you guys so that you know that that's pretty good when you take the time to do that. So tonight, as you all know, or I believe you know, I was trying to get a hold of a community group out there who had some concerns about the project, and they never did get back to me, although I believe one or two of them were on the Zoom call last week. So what I've done is I've got a video of a presentation that those groups did in October at a town hall meeting. I enhanced the audio so that it's a little clearer than what it was, and it's not too bad. It might be a little low, so you might have to turn up the volume. So that's what we're going to present tonight on the Sio Silica. And we're going to go through things like water and aquifer protection, environmental impact, the duration of the project, all that kind of good stuff. So with that, welcome everybody to this week's Manitoba Stronger Together Zoom meeting. Thanks for taking the time to join us. These gatherings are about more than just sharing information. They're about fostering connection, creating courage, and a strong, informed community rooted in truth and respectful dialogue. The meeting format, just a reminder to folks that might be your first time. We record the whole meeting now. We never used to, but we record the whole meeting now, and then I edit out before the video goes out onto the internet. I edit out all the little thumbnails and stuff, so you can be confident that you're on it. You won't show up on the video. Manitoba Stronger is committed to maintaining a respectful and thoughtful environment for discussion. Our speakers may express viewpoints that are their own and not necessarily those of Manitoba Stronger, and that's perfectly fine. We value true diversity, which is diversity of thought and perspective. Civil dialogue is essential to a healthy, informed community, so let's listen generously and ask questions thoughtfully. Now, I get questions still every week, several of them, about where can I find the videos? Where are you on the internet? And every week it's on the blog post going out, and I know every week people have their tongue in their cheek when I'm going through this again and again and again, but I do get these questions every week. So these are all of our internet presence. So we now have a YouTube channel. There's the address. Rumble channel was we've always been there. Not so active on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook, we're quite active there. And Gab, we usually double up our stuff onto Gab if you're on Gab. WMR updates. Is there anything going on there, Anthony, or are they all hiding?
Yeah, they're all pretty much hiding now, but I did learn that the province has upped how much they're going to support them. They're going to help fund the WMR because of all the municipalities pulling out.
Well, what's the point of having a WMR when 10 out of the 18 are out?
I don't know, but they said they're gonna help finance this thing now.
Well, that's interesting.
Can I ask
Yeah.
what part of it they're gonna finance? Like what? Finance like propaganda to get these other guys back in, or
Oh,
finance what?
probably.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's really interesting when your CEO quit, the administrator quit, 10 of the RMs quit. And, but the more interesting thing there is that there were a number of mayors or reeves or whatever at that board table over the last several months who banged their fist on the table and said they were going to quit. They were going to leave this thing if they didn't get something concrete from the minister. Well, they didn't get anything concrete from the minister, and they still don't have a plan. I don't understand why they're not gone. And you can see by the list in front of you, the town of Niverville's still in, Cartier is in. RM of Headingley, the fellow that was banging their fist on the table was the mayor of Headingley. And he was going on about he can't sell it because there's nothing there and they don't know what to sell and they don't know what the value is. So why is if there's anybody here from Headingley or even not from Headingley, you guys need to start pressuring them. Richaud is still in, Rosser still in, and St. Francis Xavier is still in. So I don't know what's going on in those areas, but folks, I mentioned it last week, write a letter, send an email. If you don't know what to write or you don't know what to say in a letter, email me. My contact's on the website, and I'll pull together a letter for you and make that available. So maybe you just use that letter as a seed to write your own, edit it and make it your own. But if you want, you can use that. So anybody who wants to do that, just send me an email and I will put that off to you as soon as it's possible. Is there anything else on there? Anthony, by the way, did you have any further talks with the town of Stonewall?
Well, yeah. Uh, there's rumors that they are opting out. They just, for some reason, don't want to commit yet. I don't know what's going on. Like, it doesn't make sense. They have said, though, that we all know where this is going. Well, then get out.
Well, right. Particularly when you're locked in after the election, and it's
Yeah,
going to be amazing how quick that comes.
I know.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about on that, there was a blog post I did about a month ago. It's on the website that talks about the trick that the provincial government played with regard to this freedom bill. And I explained to exactly how they've made a political item out of this and what the risks are. And so it's incredible to me that, these remaining 8 municipalities haven't gotten the hell out of this thing. I mean, if you know anybody in these municipalities, you can take that blog post, by the way, and when you open it up, there's 3 little dots at the top. You can click on that, and there's a share button, and you can email it to them. But it explains exactly what's going on and how they're being played as fools by Mr. Canoe and his group. So I don't know. Anyway, if anybody doesn't know where to find that, send me an email and I will send you the link. But it's in you know what I'm going to show you. It's in the blog post. So I'm in the blogs right now, and I'm just going to go back up to all of them, and you can see all of our blog posts are here. And this is the button when you come onto our website. And if you just go down to the bottom and page and keep paging down, I think it's 2 or 3 back. There it is. Whoop. There it is. And it explains exactly what's going on with that. So I don't understand. I honestly don't understand why anybody would stay in. I'm just going to click on that. Why anybody would stay in. And I explain in great detail, which I know you're not surprised at. In any case, so if anybody wants to send this to your mayor or your council, you just open it up. You see these 3 little dots here. You click on that and you push share and you fill in. You can send it by you can click a link and send it by email or whatever. So I'm just going to go back to so nothing else on the WMR, but I will start. Normally I've been putting on all kinds of little videos on that just to show you how silly they are, but I've just been so busy right now that I kind of haven't been keeping up with that, and I apologize for that, but will be well worth it. General updates. So we've got the screening of the movie The Shot on March 18th, which is Wednesday, and that's at the Park West Inn. Thank you for that, Anthony. And we've also got the screening of it at Selkirk on Thursday night at our favorite place, the Mateo Center. And thank you for that, Mr. Dubeski. Now, this might be a good spot because I saw him sign in. Jason, are you there?
Thank you very much, Ken. I really appreciate addressing your community once again. Nice to see you all again, and very happy to receive this invite from you, Ken. Yes, so I'm actually near the airport right now here in Edmonton, getting ready to fly out to Winnipeg for tomorrow to start the screening of the Sean Hartman story, then Winnipeg, and then following that up in Selkirk before I head back here for a showing in Edmonton on Saturday. And I saw Devon Harper in the list. So Devon, hi, nice to see you, and we'll see you on Saturday as well as we show it in the theater there.
Looking forward to it.
This is a pretty interesting documentary. We've had some great reception. Last time we were on, Ken, I think we were heading out to Ontario to
Yep.
start the screenings. We had 6 successful screenings there. Been crossing all over Alberta. Did one last night in Calgary, where we had over 120 people show up to watch the documentary. The reception has been very good. People are very pleased with it. It's not a propaganda film. It's not an anti or pro-vax film. It's the journey that Dan Hartman's going through from the moment he learned about his son passing away to getting ready for the lawsuits here in Canada against Pfizer and the government of Canada. A lot of people are coming up to us sharing how they're learning new information, things they didn't know. And there's even a clip from the NCI, Ken, when you were the commissioner, taking a testimony from Dan Hartman way back when. So this story is very important to keep sharing. And I would encourage everybody that's watching this, if you can't make it to a Manitoba one, we got some more Alberta, we're going to Saskatchewan, BC, and there's a whole bunch all over Ontario. So if you're anywhere in Canada, I'm sure you can find one close to you by going to supportsean.ca. And Ken, thank you very much for inviting me out there into your great community who helped set up the 2 showings. The reservations have been great. There is still some room, especially in Winnipeg. So if you can come out and join us for the free showing, I'd love to see you all there.
Well, it's an interesting thing. I get other people to do the work, like Anthony and Chris, and I get the thanks.
Mhm.
But I just
Well, I'll be shaking both their hands in the next couple of days because they've been fantastic. They've been getting the venue, getting it all ready. And while I'm super far away from you, things are happening. So thank you very much to everybody that's helped out. And Ken, thanks a lot for arranging for the flights and my accommodations as I make my way out to Winnipeg, where I used to live, by the way. So I'll be going to my own stopping ground. Todd McDougall, Gloria is going to be around as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing some people in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Jason's a little kinder than I am. Apparently, we've got a really good crew of people coming out to the Mateo Center, which I love. And we have a little lesser number of people come to the Park West so far. So if you haven't signed up for Selkirk, sign up for Park West, you guys. And again, that's tomorrow night, the Park West on 525 Dale Boulevard. It's at 7 o'clock. Admission is free, but we would appreciate donations. It's not free to do this, and none of it's going to me, by the way. It just
Well,
make sure we
and
all.
Nen's going to me either. So all the after expenses proceeds go straight to Dan Hartman as he continues his fight. He's got hundreds of thousands in legal to go, and it's going to be a long journey. So anything that will help contribute, we'll be selling DVDs and the USB of the movie as well. And you can pick up my book and get a signature from me, and I'll be glad to dedicate it to somebody. So I'll be there tomorrow. Looking forward to meeting you all.
By the way, Jason, does Dan have a GoFundMe site or anything like that?
He does. So when you go to supportsean.ca, right at the top, there's a donate button that will take you to his GiveSendGo.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful, everybody. Any questions for Jason before we let him go? I know he's a busy man. The police are probably banging on the door right this moment. He's got to get under the bed. Joe.
Yeah, well, if I was in Toronto, yeah, they're showing up the doors now in Toronto. But yeah, I'm going to be flying early in the morning and happy to come and say hi and share this documentary. It's 1 hour, so you won't be taking up a lot of your evening. But all the feedback we've been getting is it's action packed. There's a lot of information, and it's not a propaganda film. So be prepared to learn a few details you may not have known before.
Kirsten, go ahead.
Uh, okay, my audio's off. That's good. So I was just going to ask you, it's great to see you here, Jason. And will you be running in the upcoming elections? You may enjoy the after show here.
Which elections are you referring to?
Well, yes, the separate Alberta.
For the Republic of Alberta, I'm sure I'll find
Yeah.
my name on a ballot somewhere. But we got a lot of work to do before we get there, but it's looking pretty good. Signatures, we should have a count out early April because we were dealing with, well, when I say we, I just mean Albertans, not me specifically, but Mitch Sylvester and his team will be dealing with the court case April the 7th. So we should find out some signature numbers before then and take the next steps forward on that path.
Wonderful.
Okay, you don't have any municipal elections between now and then.
I ran in the last municipal here was
Yeah.
October 2025, so it's going to be a few more
Okay.
years before we're
Few
doing
more
that one
years.
again.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
But I
Thanks.
did run in the last municipal. I will run in the next one. The current guy, it's time to replace him. So they already feel that way now. Maybe they should have voted a different way in the last one.
It's funny, a lot of them are like fruit. They don't last long. James, you did have your hand up. I wasn't trying to ignore you.
No, I was just trying to decipher about dinner tomorrow night, maybe.
Oh, okay, we'll
Oh,
talk
right
about
on. Is that the James? The James I just
that.
heard?
That's the James.
E. James,
Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, my friend.
absolutely.
Connie, go ahead.
I'll leave it up to you and Ken. I'll just tell me where and I'll be there for
Okay.
dinner tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Hi, Jason. Pleased to meet you. I've
Hi,
listened
Connie.
to your podcasts. It's kind of an honor that you've done so much for everybody. I just wanted to know, did they actually move the date up to April 7th for the deadline for signing up for people? Is that the official date?
No, so officially the date is still May 2nd or 3rd, but there's an injunction that's been filed, and the court will make a decision on whether or not to proceed with the injunction on April 7th. And the injunction is specifically to stop the signature petition period, to pause it and stop it. Now, if Mitch has successfully reached 177,000 signatures before that date, it'll be kind of moot. There'll be no point because he can go ahead and submit those signatures. But April 7th, we're going to learn whether or not the First Nations group that filed the injunction will be successful. And if they're not successful, then yes, it will continue all the way to May 2nd. But if they are successful, uh, getting an injunction put in place, the signatures can be submitted if there's enough at that stage.
Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome.
By the way, one thing that Jason didn't mention is that he's going to be available both Wednesday night and Thursday night for question and answers. And
Question and answers, and if there's any Albertans stuck in the Manitoba and the Winnipeg or Selkirk area, I'm bringing my canvasser papers too. So if you're an Albertan with your ID, I can take your signatures while I'm in Manitoba.
wonderful. Well, I think we covered just about everything. Anything else, Jason, that you can think of?
I just can't wait to find out where we're having dinner now that James brought it up. So I'll be paying attention for that one.
We'll come up with something. All right.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, Rosalie. Thanks, Ken. Thanks to the rest of the crew. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you all.
Nice to see you. Say hi to Paula.
I will say hi, Paul. She's
Thanks,
got a cold
Jason.
right now, but I'll say hi to her.
Oh,
All right. I'm going to
and
go
those
back
beautiful boys too. Love them.
to. Yeah.
Ah, we love them. We love
Yeah.
them.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Good night. All right. I'm going back to the screen share here. And let's see my screen there. So we should be back on the general updates. WMR clips and commentary. I have to apologize for that. I've been a little tardy on that the last 2 weeks, but believe me, I will tell you guys all about what we're up to, and you will be amazed. Something that's long past due. Municipal election official guidelines have been released, and you can download them from Elections Manitoba, or you can pick them up from the municipal offices, or you can download them on our website here. And this is in the learning portal. It's in module 8, and you'll see there's all kinds of links to things at Elections Manitoba, and there is a book. Rosalie, do you happen to have that book handy? Because I can share you or spotlight you on the screen so folks.
Yep, I'll be right back. I'll get it. Don't have it right here, but I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Well, let me know when you get back, and then we'll show you the book. And the book, folks, has all of the rules and the forms and stuff that you need in order to sign up. The registration for candidates in the municipal election are you can apply by May 1st, and so That's coming up real close. And again, as I said before, the sooner that you get into this, the better, because then you can start fundraising and you can start saying, I'm running for office, as opposed to, I'm thinking about running for office. And we'll talk more about this in the session tonight. Just going to go back here. These are the new posters for the movie. If you haven't seen it before, the poster, or if you want a copy, you can just download it off of this blog post. If you just, I think you right click on it. Yeah, you can see it. I right clicked on it. It says save image as, and you can save it. And there's one for each of these. Rosalie just brought me in the book, so I'll wave that around in a few moments. So those are the two posters. I just left this on here. This is about our training, our candidates training. Upcoming Zoom calls. Now, if you were in the pregame, you would have heard me saying, I don't remember if Abby promised to come on the 24th or the 31st. So I'm gonna get a hold of the office tomorrow and find out, and I'll revise this. Some people, I know I was saying the 24th, and I put that in the last blog post, but I had a funny feeling that it may have been the 31st. So I will send a email out to them tomorrow. Hopefully I'll get a call back from them right away, and I will let you guys know. And if it's on the 24th, I'll correct this and show that. Deb.
All right, so from Wind, Christian foster families are back after Trump's reversal of Biden's LGBTQ rule. Cheryl Atkinson, Judicial Watch sues Defense Department for COVID gain of function records. Juno News, Air Canada ordered to compensate pilots fired for refusing COVID jab. Focal Point's peer-reviewed paper finds mRNA vaccines are gene-altering technologies. Slay News, Columbia University doctor sounds alarm over global expansion of euthanasia. Law enforcement, Pennsylvania, a Pennsylvania judge made the right call by dismissing yet another lawsuit that tried to turn habeas corpus into a litigation weapon for animals rights activists trying to claim elephants are persons. Winnipeg Free Press, Bob Legacy, a 10-year member of the Tory caucus, will sit as an independent, citing an ethics probe into the former PC government's handling of the proposed Sio Silica sand mine. Liberty Talks, Odessa Orlowitz on lawsuit upstate. Toronto Public Health could not provide any scientific evidence in court to why they shut down Adamson Barbecue or any businesses down for that matter, especially when Costco was across from Adamson Barbecue in full operation. Interview with Jody Ledgerwood and why the Adamson Barbecue case is so important. Wind again. Dental empire owners convicted in huge racketeering conspiracy. Focal Points, Nicholas Hauscher, massive epidemic of vaccine injury, overwhelming evidence reaches Washington, D.C. Wind, a ban with no basis in law, landmark ruling affirms teachers' right to pray. Slay News, Canada advances plan to begin euthanizing mentally ill. Fox News, FDA launches new AI-powered system to track drug and vaccine side effects nationwide. What is not addressed is whether or not this new system will be mandatory reporting within the system. So the wins of the week, Christian foster families are back after Trump reverses Biden LGBTQ rule. That was win of the week number one. Win of the week number two was Focal Points, Nicholas Hauscher, massive epidemic of vaccine injury, overwhelming evidence reaches Washington, D.C. One of the week number three, Focal Points, peer-reviewed paper finds mRNA vaccines are gene-altering technologies. And honorable mention was Liberty Talks, Odessa Orlowitz on lawsuit update for Adamson Barbecue. That'll be it until next week. Have a good St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Thank you, Deb. And now you'll notice that our helpful hints is much smaller this week because Devon is going to do something, but he didn't send me anything. So I just said Devon is going to be starting his new helpful hints feature this week. Devon, would you like me to spotlight you?
Sure.
I'm gonna just send something to the conversation for everyone. They can take a look there as I kind of explain.
Okay.
I did mean to send this to you earlier. I was kind of putting it on the teacher's desk really late. However, one thing I want to highlight with sciatica, so your nerve is inflamed. It starts near the, your hips, your lumbar spine, and then goes down each leg. So if you guys are able to see the slides there, I'll just basically review those. There's a video there, for example, I'm doing some back extensions. So when you're doing your back extensions, just keep in mind like everybody's on a spectrum, right? So some people may not be able to start with the actual movement of a back extension. They might need to just be in that position. So their body would be essentially just bent, right? And then you would hinge at the hips, right? So as you can see in the back extension video, if you just start holding that position for say 30 seconds, could, could cause a little bit of pain the next day. So you don't want to overdo it with a whole bunch of movement in the first day. So if you're not used to these movements or you have some back pain, some sciatica as well, start with just holding that position for 30 seconds. See how you react the next day because you'll get what's called delayed onset muscle soreness, where your muscles are tired, you've worked them a little bit harder than usual, and then so they'll be sore for a few days. When you have like a really intense workout, you might not notice that soreness for like 2 days, right? So also sleep and nutrition will affect how your body recovers. But there's some ways to take the pain. So basically that nerve is inflamed. It's usually just on the one side. So one way to calm it down would be to massage the other side, so the other leg, and kind of trace where that nerve would be. I'll put some pressure on there. You can have a partner do it, or you can use a tennis ball, kind of sit on it and move it around that way. Other stretches you can do, you could stretch the quad and the lunge stretch as well. You'll see it in, I think it's the bottom of the second slide there. That creates slack in the back of the leg, right? Because it's tight through the front, but the back of the leg where there's some of that inflammation that will should give you a little bit of relief, right? Um, in the middle of that slide as well, you can see the curved spine. We want to kind of introduce the spine to being in a healthy position again. So if we're sitting at our desks hunched a lot of the time, we need to get back to that arch. So placing a towel or a yoga block or just material folded up behind your back can help create that. And you can do that for 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening, and then graduate to 5 minutes morning, evening, just to take some of that stress off and remind your body that that position is healthy and something that we should be in a little bit more often than hunched, right? So um, if there's any questions, I'll take them. But again, there's a range that you're in. So if you're able to do that back extension, maybe you even want to add some weights, things like that. But really start small is what I want to stress. And then as your body gets used to it, then you can do some of these more challenging activities, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah. Are there any questions immediate?
Anybody got a question? Put your hand up and I will hopefully see you. I don't see any hands going up. Oh, there are. Why, they're not showing up on my screen. David, you have a question. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna ask for a next time slot. That was all.
Oh, okay. Rosalie, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. With that, like the picture you have solving this, okay, the where you've got you laying on the ground with that rolled up towel behind you.
Yeah.
You said about 2 minutes.
Yeah, about 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening. And
Oh,
part of the reason you want to do that early is because your body, blood is kind of pooled in certain areas,
okay.
right? So
Yeah,
the sooner you can get that as part of your morning routine, maybe the better. And then same thing in the evening, you've been, collecting again blood, people's feet are a little bit more swollen in the evening, things like
yeah.
that. So morning and evening I would recommend. But I mean, if you have only a few minutes, during a lunch break, uh, try to get it in at some point, right? But try it morning, evening if you can. If not, whenever you do have that time.
And then just
Any advice
just
for a
real
sore
quick,
neck?
I'm just interested to know like what happens if like what do you suggest even when a person is sitting? You mentioned when a person's sitting at a desk writing or
Yeah.
at the computer or whatever, or any kind of sitting, like what would you suggest is a good posture, or do you roll up a towel there somewhere, or what
Yeah,
is?
so those lumbar supports can be good. The problem is a lot of these things, you want to create the back brace with your own muscle if possible. If you're already compromised, then you might need some of these different braces and supports to help. But that's why if we can prevent sciatic from occurring because we've taken care of doing those back extensions, for example, Superman's as well is where you would lay on your stomach, flat proned out, and then you'd arch your back and your arms come off the floor with your
Oh,
feet and then back down,
oh
arch,
yeah.
right? So
Hmm.
those are some different things to help create that brace. But if you don't have it, then some of those back braces are very helpful. Putting something behind your back if you're driving for a long time, but also remembering to get out and move, stand up and stretch, right? That's what's really going to give you the relief. Because if you hold your hand in a fist really tightly for about 20 seconds, when you open it, it's going to segment because it's been tight for so long. So your back and the rest of your body reacts very similarly. Whereas if we're sitting and our hips are tight, imagine getting up, but we don't notice it, and it happens day after day after day. And then and then if you have an injury, there's scar tissue and things like that. So just again, we're on a spectrum. So if you can do those workouts and some of those exercises, great. If you need to start with just the stretches or holding a isometric position, then start there.
Thank you. That's good. Thanks.
Yeah.
Wonderful, everybody. Thank you, Devon. Your
Well,
debut was great.
Success.
thanks, Deb.
Now, David, you asked for a little bit of time here. I'm going to stop
Sure.
my share screen, and you're on.
Okay, thanks. As I mentioned in the chat, during 21-22, government was very secretive about how many people they'd fired from different jobs, specifically medical people, because of their refusal to take the vax, etc. This week on CBC, they're interviewing the head of the BC Nurses Union, and the data she read off suggests that about 30% of their nurses were fired during the 21-22 period for not being vaxxed. A significant number, bigger than we had thought of. And the other piece of news I have is regarding the ledge. We've posted it on the Facebook page. The government has brought in, normally they bring in a couple of dozen bills per season. This time they've brought in 50. And then there's some conservative ones as well. They started right up with holding the hearings starting tomorrow night, which interferes with our other plans for tomorrow. But they're holding hearings on 11 different bills tomorrow out of the 50. They have some significant ones in this list. Some are good, like banning people from being in public places with swords and machetes. There is one, Bill 23, which uses big words and the United Nations mandates and stuff to suggest that they're going to force every foster kid in the province to be accommodated if they have gender dysphoria or confusion. So they're going to force that kind of trans stuff on every foster kid. And what else? There's a few highway traffic and MPI ones, patient rights, that kind of stuff. I've listed some of the things. I'm not going to get into all of them, but I am going to speak to 4 of them tomorrow night. So
Okay.
that's summary.
Wonderful, wonderful, David. Thank you. The video that we talked about with regard to the Sio Silica project. Now, again, this was at a town hall meeting in Cooks Creek Community Center in around the end of October last year. And so 3 folks came up and did a presentation. It's about 15, 20 minutes long. Now, oh, there you go. It says 20 minutes and 50 seconds long. Now, before you get mad at me, I did stick our little 30-second video in the front of this, so because I know you guys aren't looking at it enough. So there we go. Ready? Here we go. You may have to turn it up, by the way, when it gets to the town hall meeting, because I did what I could to enhance the sound, but it's not perfect.
Now, don't get me wrong, I didn't do all this by myself. I like to say there's an army of us. From the RF Springfield, Reynolds, Taché, and beyond. I want to thank the Springfield Taxpayers Rights Corporation's rate, my friends, neighbors, and everyone who stood up to lend their voice. And last but not least, our line in the sand. With that, I'd like to introduce Tanji Bell. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much, Georgina. Thank you for your actions, for protecting our water and our values here in the area of Springfield as well as the surrounding areas. And you do understand the consequences from this project. And again, thank you for taking action on that. And thank you, Councillors Kaczynski and Councillor Miller, for having this opportunity and for inviting our line of the San Manitoba to provide you with a quick update on Sio Silica. A bit of background. My name is Tanji Bell. I am the chair of our line of the San Manitoba. We formed when a junior mining unfit Sio Silica proposed to mine directly in and operate over our pristine drinking water supply. Though, through our engagement in Sio Silica's assessment and licensing process, we fully recognized the dire need to reform Manitoba's environment and mineral legislation to effectively protect Manitoba's right to a healthy and clean environment. It's been a long road, and sadly, it is not over. It should be, because there are fundamental flaws and inherent consequences with the Sio Silica project. The decision to deny the project was and will continue to be the right one to make. Our line in the sand, along with other organizations such as Manitoba Eco Network, the Wilderness Committee, as well as Cam Morningstar and a few others, spoke recently on Bill 23, the Public Interest Expression Defense Act. We were successful in removing subsection 2 of section 4, as it established the exception for injunction proceedings. It has to go through the third reading, but we trust it will have unanimous approval in the legislature. What does this have to do with a quick update on Sio Silica and what it could mean for Springfield residents? A whole lot. This anti-strategic SLAP lawsuit, so strategic lawsuit against public participation, will help strengthen your right to openly debate matters of public interest, such as what we're doing here tonight. Protecting the environment, healthcare, holding elected officials to account, without facing legal and financial duress from frivolous lawsuits. This is significant because many of us here have experienced this type of threat and intimidation, and the project is still out there. The CEO has again rebranded Project Simba. You may have heard that. It appears this is done to try to obscure the negative criticism of their project being found, particularly by potential investors when going through the internet for a search. CEO continues to travel circuit, mining conferences, business gatherings, events, and advertisements. And I think a few of us have heard their use of children to promote their project. This time around, they are focusing on First Nation support. First Nation members have been critical of CEO's consultations, which they feel are not in alignment with traditional values, are one-sided, and questions and concerns are unanswered or dismissed. At the end of July, CEO offered Broken Head of Ojibwe Nation a 5% profit, and that's estimated $20 million. However, that's only if the project reaches full production. During the 2023 Clean Environment Commission hearing into the mining project, the Commission's technical consultant advised, and I quote, While pilot testing has occurred, the extraction method has not been proven in a full-scale mining operation. Since Sio's mining technique has not been proven at full scale, that 20 million is not guaranteed. Why would Broken Head Chief Gordon Blue Sky and his councillors have membership vote on such an uncertainty? We do know that Chief Blue Sky has been negotiating with Sio, and I quote, for the location of advanced manufacturing facilities on their lands. Broken Head owns land in East St. Paul and has also been negotiating a municipal service agreement with East St. Paul. East St. Paul's mayor, who is here tonight, Carla Demlin, is also Sio Silica's president. Broken Head's land falls under a proposed secondary plan crafted by the same Winnipeg Metropolitan Region Plan 2050 planner that will be hearing something about that tonight. Now, both Demlin and Chief Blue Sky are on the Winnipeg Metropolitan Region Board. I am thrilled to report, though, that on August 8th, Broken Head members showed incredible courage and wisdom and voted no to partnering with Sio Silica. It appears that Sio was relying on Broken Head's support to garner provincial approval, or support, I should say, for their second license application. Sio stated they would file their application after the vote, and we have yet to receive confirmation that an application was filed to the approvals branch. August 25th, Sio President Carla Demlin and her daughter Peyton, who is Sio's marketing manager, met with North Dakota Senator Kevin Kramer. Although both Demlins have no experience in that we know of in critical minerals, Kramer said they discussed mining and processing critical minerals in North America. You may be aware that in January of last year, the then NDP caucus chair, now Environment and Climate Change Minister, Mike Moyes, filed a complaint with the Office of the Ethics Commissioner to investigate former Premier Heather Stephenson and three of her ministers, Cliff Cullen, Jeff Warden, and Derek Johnson. In May, the report was released, and it concluded that the project was politically pushed and Stephenson, Cullen, and Warden breached the Caretaker Convention. For the first time, fines were levied, recommended, and we commend the legislature for voting unanimously on October 8th to accept those recommendations, but more of the public shaming and mines are required. The report uncovered serious concerns about our democratic processes and public service and leaves us with numerous unresolved issues and questions. For one, Johnson was, and I quote, well aware of the plan to seek approval of the project license during the transition period. However, there was insufficient evidence to demonstrate that he participated in the improper actions. But why did he come forward to prevent the breach? Johnson was re-elected as MLA of Gidley North. Others were aware of this plan, but they come forward. Manitoba's lobby registry doesn't record the subversive login documented in the report. Why was it not stopped by staff? How much more goes unanswered, undocumented, unchecked? Where is the accountability? Where is the transparency? And exactly how healthy are our publicly funded democratic institutions? Can this rot happen again? Tomorrow, October 23rd, the local Chamber of Commerce is holding their annual awards banquet. For details, please go to our latest social media post or sign up for email updates when it's short. Since they began featuring keynote speakers, there has been a connection to Sio Silica. This year's speaker is former First Nation Chief Michael Birch. Birch sits on the board of a Colombian gold mine, along with Sio Silica's COO, Brent Bullen. Bullen is also prominent in Birch's new consulting business. The chamber was founded and run by Executive Director Shandy Walls, a former Springfield councillor and Sio Silica lobbyist. And the ethics investigation reveals Walls' role in reaching the Caretaker Convention. The Supreme Court of Canada's statement on breach of that convention is clear. I quote, "One so serious indeed, that it could be regarded as tantamount to a coup d'etat," unquote. The Ethics Commissioner's report also reveals an unhealthy relationship between elected officials and public servants, and with Sio Silica reps. Premier Walt Canoe is quoted in the Winnipeg Free Press article, "A CEO caught in stink of Tory Epic scandal." I quote, "We have an obligation to you as Manitobans to try and figure out more about what went on. When asked if he'd call a public inquiry, Canoe said that would be expensive. Only a thorough, independent public inquiry under the Evidence Act will provide answers and accountability, establish that our publicly supported institutions and processes are sound, and present recommendations to ensure that this cannot happen again. We urge you to sign our petition informing Premier Canoe that the expense is worth it. We have 2 petitions, as you have been directed to, currently running, and they are available to sign at the front desk. So you can take action, and we do hope that you do. We urge all Manitobans to sign. One for the full independent public inquiry under the Evidence Act, and because you deserve to know the truth, and we have to protect not only our water and our values, but our democracy as well. And the other, of course, is to urge the province to strengthen Manitoba's environment and mineral legislation to ensure for real and enforceable protections for our environment and lesser health. So once again, thank you. Thank you, councillors, for the letting me the invitation to update in Sagra. Thank you.
Empty pen. You're in another chance to ask Ken 2 questions, but I wanted to first introduce you to Henny Nathaniel, who's going to give you a brief introduction to a short film that we're going to watch.
Should have really slow it down, but
yeah.
A friend of mine told me about some sand. It was about in 2022, and the piles of it, and kids were really riding their bicycles on it, worried about silicosis, and I didn't know anything about it. I came out because he asked me to go into the municipal board hearings in October 2022, and I was just amazed. I didn't bring any cameras. I just came to listen, and then after the first dig, I thought, wow, this is really dangerous. Like from what I heard everybody say from the speakers there. And so I kept following this to the CEC hearings, and then the communities put in their own money to voice their concerns about it. And a lot of you guys, wrote to the CEC, I think, and it was just tremendous how a community gets had up against really big money, big government, and to protect their water for generations. And I think it's that serious. And the science, we talk about minerals. Yes, we do need them, but we do need water too, which is 2030, the UN estimates for 40% shortage of water. So it's very precious and maybe worth more in the minerals at some point. So I started compiling all this and still going on. We still have how it looks like, even though it was rejected. And they're putting in an application again. They said it was like marketing was a problem before, but I don't know. So, I compiled the short little intro and sort of from what I've seen and what I've got recorded, just a summary of his project and open like.
They're proposing to pollute by and forced air, pretending that it's not going to cause collapse. I don't know how they can make that kind of an assumption. We just don't know. In fact, if you ask me to guess, my guess would be that after a not very long while, that it will start to collapse all over the place. And we'll have sickle after sickle. Number one, and number two, what happens to the water supplying? Who in the hell knows?
look, we don't know, then you can do this safe thing. And if we can't do it safe, you shouldn't be doing it.
If I had known that I had my house on the line, so to speak, I'm not sure that I would have done this, but I believe so thoroughly in this issue of protecting our water that we have to continue to strive for it.
It cannot work. That's the best way to describe it. The other thing, once our water supply is yours, what's our land?
Zero. We won't be able to sell it if we don't have clean water.
This is the storative sand. This sand is found deep in the ground in a pristine drinking water aquifer in southeastern Manitoba. This is a David and Goliath story of a small community trying to protect their water.
We've got an in situ allowed of sand in the ground with 2.1 billion tons of sand.
We're talking about an aquifer with some of the best water quality in the world. And its quality is such that it received a number of years ago a gold medal award internationally for the quality of the water in this southeast Manitoba.
Over 300 wells will be drilled in the first year alone. 10,000 wells will be drilled over 24 years. 85,000 hectares of total mining rights have been obtained, or twice the size of Winnipeg.
Why are homes experiencing disturbances to their water, changing to their water?
I'm scared. And you guys don't live here. So we're going to live here. And we are going to be the big losers.
Their statements are so egregious. This is carpet bombing. We got to have connecting slurring lines are being up and down and all these galaxies that have all this is what they're loading in and nowhere and that. And that's looking was straight in. Come on,
Mr. Trevor, clear your typist up. I like to run like you need 15 minutes in print and I carrying him on. Who wants me to carry on? So that it shut the turn my microphone off the must me and reading the rest of this so that you can hear it. And if you want to shut it off, go on.
Ik wil dat die on the train serve, sir. And time is up.
For us to get to Dutch, it's going to be about a $60 million capital cost. What's our business flow? My last capping at Golden Soul. I'll be honest, that's the lots of business in the town here is below the south.
Sio Silica is the latest in a long line of companies attracted to the sand in this pristine aquifer. In a recent prospectus, the company has a net present valuation of $3.9 billion and is to be acquired by Pyrophyte Acquisition Corporation for $708 million, applying an 8% discount.
For us to get to production, it's going to be about a $60 million capital cost.
A $708 million sale is a huge incentive. Dr. Bernard Duroc-Dannon, now chairman of Sio Silica's partner Pyrophyte, once led oil field giant Weatherford. In 2013, the company was fined over $250 million for bribery and falsified records and illegal deals with sanctioned regimes, one of the largest corruption cases in the industry's history.
One of the things that we learned is that we cannot count on anybody to protect us. We have to protect ourselves, our own community. We don't have opportunity like the rest of Manitobans.
Sio Silica is in discussions with our community leadership on a potential partnership from $10 to $12 million, and then after a few years production, moving up to $20 million a year.
The formation wants to give us water. It wants to give us sand. And so with just simple air.
But this air is not that simple. The oxygen is being introduced into an anaerobic environment and reacts with sulfides, pyrite, and marcasite to produce acids and the leaching of toxic heavy metals like selenium.
When you add no water, the outside taps raise up for this broadshed to come on.
Science scan sonar revealed the complete collapse of the shale aquitard following the creation of a 60-meter wide void, causing the mixing of the aquifers prohibited by the Manitoba Water Act.
The new NDP government played as the PCs tried to push that rule through days after Tories lost Manitoba's election.
I'm just going to stick to what the Conflict of Interest Commissioner ruled. She broke the law. She violated our constitutional principle of the Caretaker Convention, and she was fined $18,000. First time it's ever happening is
One of the things he talked about was that there'll come a time and he hoped that it wouldn't be in his lifetime, but he hoped it would never cover and they'll be fighting over water because there'll be no more water.
Reminds me of the late Mark Twain.
Water's not for drinking. Whiskey is for drinking. Water is for fighting over.
Just a comment. Last time there was during the company presentation, somebody made reference to column failure in open air mining, like coal mining. And in that case, there's nothing to keep the ceiling up in a coal mine. And if it's not done right, that's disaster. In this case, the limestone barrier is still floating on sand, most of it, the hundreds of square miles. And so if it's weakened, I'm expecting that this testing they're doing, quite a bit of testing, will show whether the little pockets of no sand really lead to collapses. And that's something that's a very different phenomenon when you're supporting a large limestone layer with sand suspended in water. So just different hydrological conditions, and it may be a huge problem and may not. And as I indicated in the chat, mistakes are where the problems will occur, if there are any. Somebody pumping the wrong stuff in or pumping it into the water layer, that sort of thing.
Plus, no matter what you want to do in this world, there's going to be somebody that's standing in the way saying, no, not in my backyard.
So there's certainly an issue there. Anyway, just a thought.
All right, Chris. You're muted.
There you go. No, I was just on my grok here, and I was always wondering why you got hollow water. They have a license to supply sand to the Selkirk plant if they ever build it. And the sand that they're after here is because of its purity. It's very rare. So I can see why they're putting a lot of effort to going after it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else?
That's good to know, Chris.
Yeah. Just a news item to last night on Stonewall, which is a quarry town, and somebody wants to dig a new quarry on farmland there. It happens to be across the street from the lady that runs the Black Bear Rescue, so she's upset. But it is a mining community, and
yeah, it is called Stonewall.
Yeah, but it's just that there are people. Whenever you do something industrial, many people will be unhappy. So
Not in my backyard.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look I'm not taking a position on this. I had a lot of questions from members about this, so I thought, what the heck? I'll bring in the company and I'll bring in the community groups that were opposing this thing. And so you can see that from this presentation you saw tonight, there are some issues with regard to governance. There was an ethics investigation, and there were some people fined. And what they were talking about there is that they were talking about the caretakers convention. And what that says is when a government calls an election, between the time they call the election and the time the election occurs, they're not supposed to introduce new legislation. They're not supposed to make changes to what's going on in the province, which will affect the next government. And so that's what they were talking about. And there was allegations of that being compromised, and the ethics commissioner ruled on that. And there was a bunch of other stuff. So this presentation you saw tonight had two components to it, right? It had the component where the lady was talking about what happened politically and what's going on with the act. And then there was the second component with the fellow in his video giving you some information about what the concerns are there. So I guess that's it for tonight. We are going to continue. We're going to take a 10-minute break, and we'll come back at 7:45, and we'll complete that section 6 in the lessons about running for office. We're also going to talk about, and I'm just going to share my screen for a second before we go off. I am going to show you this document, and this document is the latest municipal relations guidebook, and you can see it's dated 2026. It's available on our website, and I'm just going to flip over to that. The 2022 candidates guidebook. I haven't updated that, but the link takes you to the 2026 guidebook. And we're going to go through what's in that book, and we're going to go through what the dates are tonight as well. So we're going to finish up the module we did last week. We're almost finished anyway. And then we're going to go through that guidebook, and I'm going to once again show you where to get it. I'm going to show you what's in it and why it's important. And then that'll be it. So that will probably take us about 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And so with that, everybody, have a great night if you're leaving us right now. And we'll see you back again in about 10 or so minutes if you're sticking with us. And someone was asking where they can find this video that I just showed you. It will be part of our Zoom call video, and that'll be out. Probably won't be out tomorrow because I'm going to be in Winnipeg most of the day tomorrow, but it'll certainly be out either tomorrow or Thursday on our website and on our YouTube and on our Rumble site. So with that, everybody, if you're leaving us, have a great night. And if you're sticking to it and going to see what we're going to talk about with regard to your candidacies tonight, then we'll see you in 10 minutes. Good night, everybody.